All right, my lovers. Ah, I love these. Just whatever comes out of my mouth is it fascinates even me. How are you? Happy full moon today. I'm absolutely endeavoring to do a full moon update, a collective intuitions energy update for this full moon cycle. It's 555 this morning. Um, mega thanks to all of you who have joined the live share crew. Based on more of your guys' input, I've actually added more options for the crew. And bear in mind the flexibility of this crew as a means for stability, integrity in the sharing. So I added two options for you guys, £5, 55, £11, 11, and then I've added £3, 33 to make it a little bit closer to like $5 for American, Canadian, Australian people, and then there's a higher option as well, like 22, which is closer to the kind of tribe, the Fearless Life tribe as well. So I'll be going live with the live share crew again. What up, Lorna? And we can just essentially chat with a little bit more clarity and sort of privacy, as it were, as well. So I'm doing the cards for today for the full moon. Powerful portal we're in, especially after the transformational intensity of this entire year, the Plutonian energy and the different transits alongside just the general collective awakening that we're undergoing and experiencing and projecting as a humanity here. It's like a quantum leap in our evolution. So we're now finally feeling momentum. We're going to be feeling just lighter in our lives. We're going to be really anchoring like the awareness of manifestation. It's like more people truly coming into a sense of mastery when it comes to their beingness, in the knowingness of their truth, their truth in alignment, their truth in desired manifestation. And I'm really getting this sense of it really has nothing to do with control, bearing in mind the thinking projection that we have to somehow control and manipulate the external world for our own fulfillment versus manifesting the truth ultimately. Yes, Lorna. Hi there, Jessica. How are you? Well done. Fantastic. See, and this is a beautiful reflection around. That's it for a lot of us. It's it's doing what we desire for self, for our own joyful fulfillment. And this is ultimately, it's the one and the same as breaking down the construct of an enslavement system. So we all have our unique function to play simply in loving ourselves and permissioning ourselves to be free, in as far as like we all deserve to be free. We do all deserve to have love and be love and joy, and the contrast is just par for the course of existence, right? So major, I'm not surprised, obviously, with the reading so far. There's three major arcana right down the center, and we're healing the major cycle of distortion, separation, and fear in our heart, right? Hi, Tati. Hi. And then the Wheel of Fortune is turning in our favor, having and at least addressing the breaking free from this devil energy, codependencies and addictions and things that we know limit us. So I can recognize that in as far as we're focusing on the good stuff, moving in the good direction, believing in that good direction. And it's one and the same as a willingness. It doesn't necessarily have to be this dropping or this sudden cutting off of all the negatives in our lives or all the perceived. Again, this is a very unique way of living, right? Because we're all unique. There's no one right way to live, and I really truly believe that we as the creators are ultimately beyond duality. Energy doesn't judge; it's only our own veiling that judges self, right? So anytime we break free from an aspect of limitation or judgment, we're ultimately releasing and or letting go of bonds, chains, attachments, things that hold us down to a pattern or way of being that ultimately is too heavy for us to take with us to wherever we're going in our own destined path on a higher level, which simply means we feel good, we feel more ourselves, we feel more empowered to be ourselves in any situation, right? So it's all really positive. And the Hierophant in reverse, so this means an exchange of keys, perhaps. I often interpret this as you raising the bar, like you rising into your own personal power, which even Lorna's comment about I'm finally doing something for myself. That's you claiming your, like, you don't need nobody's permission, you don't need, yeah, just that. You don't need to go to the external authorities or our bosses or our parents to be like, excuse me, is it okay for me to feel good about myself? Could I have a break? It's like, no, you just take it. And it's that whole thing of when we claim our freedom, it is astounding the shape shifting that happens in our personal lives because we don't even realize necessarily the codependent tendencies, the subtle ways we deny self to please other. And then when we suddenly start pleasing ourselves in truth, other can often have a bit of a sometimes, not always. Sometimes we're like, yeah, cool. And you're like, oh, holy shit. There's been a whole bunch of that as well as the other, as in people go into manipulation or they hide aspects of self and we all do it. That's why there's no judgment in the truth of the work, the inner work, as it were. There's no judgment because we're all always reflecting the aspects that need reflecting for us to keep learning and growing. So it really is like in my also love world, it's a beautiful perspective, like love and freedom and grace. It's just legit awesome in every way. And yeah. FYI, I'll continue with the reading, but I also want to share with you, I'm definitely getting like a download about the full moon energy, and how it relates to our physical bodies. And that could have to do with some of the devil energy that we're shape shifting some of our patterns to be more free and to feel lighter and happier and healthier in our bodies. And then that's also shape shifting our world. But then in a broader collective, like it really, like our ability to claim our freedom within the body, like within the cells of our body, has a lot to do with how the earth herself is claiming her sovereignty back, from any of those, so-called darker forces or the chains of oppression, the energies that want to try to rape and steal and hoard and possess the earth's resources. There is especially the rising of the divine feminine is the reclamation of sovereignty in self. So having dominion over your own physical body is like earth having dominion over hers, the being that the earth is. And so as we become transformed, the earth as well is claiming that transformational energy. In love, although it can look a little bit like chaos and destruction on the physical plane, because as we claim the love, the old energies are being destroyed. Creation and destruction, it's one energy ultimately, right? So yeah. So this is coming up loads. The the like walking away from stuff, basically. That full moon at the 33rd pillar, is this correct? I don't know. Hi, is Jose of Aries going to reach out to me? Zoe, I am not sure, my darling. This is a walking away energy. This is fast moving messages, and it's a fire sign. So that could be Jose. That could be Jose making contact. This is a general reading, and I do just chat because this is sort of where I'm sitting with my other live share, other than the people who subscribe to the live share crew and get notified when I'm going live for that specific crew. Hola! Wow, I wish. And I often, I always, on this channel, so those of you who are new here, I tend to encourage people to really like always come back to self and your own joy and your own fulfillment and your own, be mindful of transforming the energy of seeking joy, pleasure, happiness in other. Because to me, every single being that we're encountering in our 3D reality is ultimately like a twin, a flame, a reflection. So it's only in our kind of Hollywood 3D indoctrination program that we seek out this like specific other to fulfill our desire, because we've been programmed to accomplish, well, everywhere in our society is a programming of like love, like everyone's supposed to fall in love and then we'll be happy. But in my awareness, I'm like, you have to fall in love with yourself and live in truth with self, and then ultimately like all of your encounters can be harmonious. And the encounters that are patterns that we learn from, and that has to do with refining the intuition and again deepening our ability to love self and empower self. Yeah. And ultimately what I'm finding is then we can just enjoy our encounters, romantic encounters, financial encounters, friendship encounters. We can just enjoy, share, and exchange, but they're not in these underlying neediness, enslavement, relating on a level of suffering and that kind of thing. So yeah, we got in a big fight. Oh, darling. So in that regard, I would say, yes, from a place of wanting to deeply connect and explore, for sure. So continue, and it's not like I'm not like I love love, obviously, and I love intimacy, and I feel like because our culture, we've all been programmed to be so sort of shallow, I guess, or like superficial in our connectivity. The awakening is about us healing and connecting to self in an intimate and deep and profound and beautiful way, so that when we're connecting to other, we can have that level of intimacy and ultimately attract in the right kind of energy, which happens, which is to me like that's what's happening. But it's been, the last few years has been almost like these perpetual cycles of like neediness or desperation, and then attracting in these sort of codependencies or just energies that I'm not truly aligned with. But then I notice the subtle, this other layer, and but then once I get to the other side of it, it makes sense to me, and to be grateful for it. The way you connect with you, have to bring yourself fully. Yeah, for sure. Your thoughts on soul retrieval and integration work. So I feel that is continuous. And at the same time, I tend to not like, so I wrote a book called The Fearless Life Guide, and in my awareness, whether you call it soul retrieval or integration work, it's an ongoing process of owning and transforming density. I call it like the karmic backlog. So you don't basically, you don't have to heal. The self doesn't heal itself externally. It's only ever through basically everything you see around you and all of the experiences you're having are a projection of self. So within your emotional field and the light of your awareness, you can basically heal yourself completely. And it is ongoing. And then the more we sort of become accustomed to holding space for self and healing the density, i.e., this unconscious, the or just the base tone patterns that we're still projecting, whether it's genetic, our own karma, or ancestral karma, our whole reality is basically a healing stage if we choose to accept the mission. I call us the ground control vibrational cleaning crew. If you take responsibility for your projection, if you take responsibility for what you're creating, whether consciously or unconsciously. So, and again, it's the discipline of clarity of mind, of knowing your mind, of knowing yourself, of being whole and full in yourself. And I'm realizing, like, because even in our healing worlds or healing circles or spiritual industry, bear in mind it's a industry perhaps that, and not always, but we can even get looped into these kind of perpetual healing circles. Like I have to keep healing and I have to go back and I have to, and that I don't really align with that, because at some point we just actually have to permission ourselves to be joyful and free. And yet, if we're manifesting things that are still triggering wounding, then we have to keep addressing that. But personally, this is my own sort of perspective and my own teaching. It's that it's actually effective to do it in self. And sometimes we need witnesses. Naturally, we will call in people to assist with the healing. And that will be a co creative exchange and dynamic. At the same time, be really mindful of group consciousness in this very subtle egoic attachment to healing, to this ongoing, like, yes, I'm a healer. It's this bizarre sort of martyrdom energy. And again, it is what it is, to each their own. It's just not something, I'm just somebody who, as I continue to evolve and shapeshift and change, I'm really about, like, I don't know, going out, having fun, enjoying my life, being free, traveling. Like I hang out with all sorts of different types of people, like where when I spent almost 12 years in the yoga industry and the well-being community, and there were some really great bits about it and there were some really weird, for me personally, distorted, shady bits about it too. And you know, I don't think so, Mr. Vth. It's a plant from the earth. I don't think cannabis is a. It's, again, it's perspective and personality. It's like if one self doesn't align with cannabis, then maybe they shouldn't smoke it. I don't drink alcohol because it's not my thing. It never, I couldn't, like, operate or function normally in the society when I drank alcohol, so I haven't for many years now. It fascinates me. It is fascinating. Yeah, Amy, most of them. Arcturus, Pleiades, Sirius. There's resonant connection. I do talk about that in my online course, The Spirituality Simplified. I talk about cosmic origins and how, as we do deeper healing in our emotional field, we can usually connect the dots to our cosmic gate, which is like basically all of our lifetimes and all of our infinite, eternal, universal, and cosmic explorations as a self, as a being, in this infinite multiverse. So yeah, alcohol, yeah, it's not my thing. Oh, right on, Amy. Yeah, nice. Hello. There must be a strong resonance here. You are creating your own joy. Yes, Lorna. Yes. So Lorna's comment right at the beginning of this live share was like, I'm finally doing stuff for myself. And it's like, yes, it's just such a win. Because imagine a world where everybody was responsible for themselves, and everybody was doing. I'm like, our world and our systems, and this is part of the paradigm shift that I talk about so dominantly here, because this is the paradigm shift. Insight is ultimately what has been guiding my intuitive path for 20 years and my own spiritual awakening process. But imagine, and people are always like, you're too idealistic or too, I'm like, I don't think I am. I legit truly believe this is the way that humanity's evolving. Unless, and then you can also talk about the bifurcation of reality, where the cells divide and there's like two polarities of the earth construct, right? We would experience the reflection of all our internal healing. And booyakasha! This is it, Amy. Like, this is legit my 3D, whatever you want to call it. It's just my reality. Is that increasing because I do this inner work and really have done most of my life as an empath. Most of us as sensitive empaths naturally have this like awareness, and we just want to, but as we empower ourselves, that's where we've learned about narcissism and learned that people lie about stuff to get stuff, and they're not necessarily in their feeling center and all this, right? So hence the rising of empathy to teach more of this evolutionary process for humanity to heal and awaken. But exactly, so this is more my real time, present moment experience, is that I really only bump up against other creators who are happy and well and free and like in my physical world, right? And then the more clear I become, the more clear my business platform becomes, my online presence becomes, like all this. It really, really is our own reflections, continuous, that way. Exactly. And that will continue to shift as more insanity and chaos is like exploding onto the world stage. We know this, don't we? It's our own suffering that usually has us pulling on threads of conscious creation that makes us go, ah, it is me. It's all in me. It's my own perspective. Shit. I better make some changes, right? And once you feel like, for someone like me or any of you who have felt the benefit of self-love transformation or felt the truth of your own creative potential, you can't go back. I can't even imagine, because it's been 20 years for me, but I wouldn't, you can't unsee what you've seen as the veil of truth from the self, so. Hey, nice chittle chat that way, and Lorna and Amy, nice to see you here. I'm not sure that your name rings a bell, but I'm not sure that I've ever seen you on the stage. Whoa, Susanna, Insanity on the world stage. It's been going on for I'm now going to talk about that military war complex, but that's been part of the veil of the, you could say, the reptilian agenda, as it were, to continue to keep the humanity base tone at a certain level of creation, because there are certain energetic forces that can harness and essentially steal the innocence, just steal the light-filled energy that is the humanity here. So as we awaken, we're just like, no, that is not in alignment with divine law and the earth. So we live in peace, and we live in grace, and we live in joy, and we live in love, and we share that with one another. And then that essentially is what deconstructs. Only the deconstruction of the old paradigm is really the birthing of the new. It's all one in essence. We're just, I guess, like Abraham would say, it's like we're at the leading edge, or the seeds that we've planted are starting to sprout, and other people's, they still got to tend to their garden, kind of thing. But it is getting way better. I'm doing my very best. You are. Absolutely, you are. Yes, yes. And that's part of that's a core sort of belief that I know has guided me and kept me safe and for the most part well. It's like I deep down, even in the shittiest of moments, I'll be like, I'm doing my best. Like we are. And I give that to everybody. It's like even the so-called like worst representation of humanity, we're still doing our best with the awareness that we have. You know what I mean? What up, down to earth, Dad? Bass tone, somatics, chaos before beautiful patterning, evolved patterning as frequency rises. Yes, thank you. Nice reminder. Pardon me. Chaos in my own body as well. And that's where I know we're building momentum because it's all this year has been so slow and yet also accelerated from within the awareness of self. Um, so yeah, and then this is like a thing. Healing wholeness and balance. um, I believe it was you, Aaron, or Heath. I'm not sure, but like there was a graph or like it's to do with like a musical thing, frequencies. But when you're, or it was just one of those random videos that you find on YouTube or Facebook or whatever, where you're looking at the different kind of harmonics, I guess. And then when you move from one scale to another, like one octave to another, which you could say that's essentially what's happening to our beingness and our frequential like outpouring and stuff, because we're more aware of the etherea, we're more aware of our spirituality, as it were. And so we're in our consciousness, we're like mind, one body, right, of Christ. It's rising us to be more fluid, more light filled. But the process for most of us, because I think humans like and need a process, certainly from the 3D up. And then once we'll probably move beyond process once we are, well, pure soul and light. But that's a choice, you know, and there is constant choosing. But essentially moving from one and you would explain this much better, down to earth, Dad, but it's like moving from one and then one like octave, for example, and then the transformation paradigm shift, for example, is like it's going to get all messy. It's like vibrating, and there's like a beautiful pattern, and then we move it up a notch. It's so that we can feel better and we can be more abundant, we can be more in love, i.e. like heaven on earth. We can create that from hell. So move from hell to heaven. But the shift, so when it moves from one harmonic to it up to another, it's a bit chaotic in between, a bit or total chaos. Like any of us who have gone through transformation in our lives, there's like possibly months or years. Let me give an example of like, so you go through a breakup and the breakup happens and you had this lovely life that you were living that seemed harmonious and wonderful. And then eventually there was some subtle changes and it was like, oh no, oh fuckadoodles. And then you broke up and then you're like, Wah! And like my own life. And then your whole life starts to sort of spin out of control. And you're like, what is life? What is happening? and then you lose everything, and then there's no old pattern to go back to, but then you're like in mid air being like, I must find it, but you're like, I believe in myself. And you have loads of love, and then you rise that love, and then suddenly you're like and then you find new territory and you're like, boom, boom, okay, like, and then you start to feel a new rhythm, so you start to anchor a new harmonic frequency, which for the purpose of a happy life, it gets better and better. Yeah. Yeah. And this, Matthew, I want to do a bit of a share around the Taurus full moon, but maybe I'm just doing it here as well. This is the pattern, and like we can kind of shift kind of bass tones, And yet the patterns, especially for teachers, like people who maybe people who have YouTube channels and people who have a natural desire to share and express their insight, teachers of new paradigm energy. um, we can have all of, just this last few months has been like another review of residue patterns of fear. And that helps us to understand the depth of like manifestation and our ability to keep loving no matter what. Like to keep loving the self, to keep choosing, to keep choosing, to keep loving. It's sometimes in my personal awareness, I almost feel it like it's a little bit stubborn. Like I'm like, you're not real. Like, I'm not giving any power to you. Like, yes, I know we've been here before, and I know I've gone over it over and over, but I'm definitely on the other side of it now. Like I'm having like a deep chat, but it's kind of funny. Except, and I talk about this on this channel, it doesn't feel good because it can literally feel like we're stuck in the old shit completely. Or like it didn't work, and all of this manifestation stuff and positive thinking and feeling and it's not the truth, but it is the truth. And the more of us who anchor that in as the benevolence of our truth, and that is the teaching. Essentially, we don't have to like words don't teach, vibration does. It's our living the truth of our knowingness that is the teaching of God, of source, because we become the source that we are. Or certainly it's more about the desires. It's more about living in joy and grace and all those divine codes, as it were, and being that. So my lovers, the cards for this day. By the way, happy, 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 happy full moon. Happy, 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 happy full moon. It's a Taurus full moon, and based just on the effing intensity of this year, this feels actually like another big turning point in as far as feeling the lightness of the truth. Feeling, I got this insight the other day. It's almost like seas are parting, and we're very, in one way, really slowly, but then from other people's perspective, quite quickly, because we're a lot more effective, right? Oh, so awesome. I've had the opportunity to go away, and I'm going to be hanging out. I'm going basically to the other side of the country, and I'm going to be hanging out on an allotment. I could feel the surge of like needing to get away from Bristol. I know I've only been back from Morocco for a month, but I'm I'm basically coming into this awareness of like I am a bit of a gypsy soul. I'm naturally nomadic. It's good for me to move around, and yet what I'm honoring from a higher level is um, also a desire to have roots, because I've never had roots. There's another element to my story of I've been running my whole life trying to find home. It turns out home is actually where your heart is. I'm like, oh my God, imagine that. And yet we can because there's a co-creative collective story we're telling. I truly feel in resonant connection to this part of the earth where I am. So this is because it's near the Glastonbury and Stonehenge and Avalon and stuff. So this is, I know, energetically speaking, where I am meant to put roots down, like into the earth, Mm. Cheers to that. We are creation itself, and we always desire to be right where you are. And that is part of presence, isn't it? Like allowing the what isness of the isness, which is also what allows us in this community certainly to resonate in as far as facing down the fears that trigger us. Because everything that is triggering us on an energetic level is ultimately our ability to transform and to step up, to honor and own what that trigger is actually communicating to us. The sun is in Scorpio, possibly, and this is part of this energetic dance that is so profound for us right now. This Taurus is like stability and earth and real time manifestation. from the polarity of Scorpio, which is like the deep sea, the darkness of the void, and ultimately transformation beyond the veil. So we have the sun, if this is correct, I'm not an astrologer, so I don't know, but I'm interpreting. So it's like sun shining into the depths of the scorpionic energy, which is helping us to churn up, the depth of our psyche, the depth of our unknownness, and then bring it to the fore and essentially birth it into the world. This is part of the resonant connection in this community, is that we all have this sense of like the beyondness, and a depth of healing that is to be shared, that really doesn't align with old paradigm or control, domination, divide, conquer tactic. The basic way I see it is just that when people are under the veil, they're blinded by materiality, which most of our generation and above were indoctrinated to buy in. As in, my value is attached to the house that I buy, the money that I make, the relationship that I'm in, what have you. And for some of us at different points in our journey, we were like, huh? That's not working. Like, you can't control me. And it's not about that, and it's a funny one, because manifestation is dominion, yet we're in a phase of our human evolution where it has to be divine right action, hence following the heart. Living in service to your heart is actually living in service of the heart of humanity. Living from our head, or our logical egoic construct mind that was sort of, we were sold it and we bought it to a certain degree. That is what dictates to us, I'm supposed to be important first in the world, or I'm supposed to do this, that, or the other, or anything that anyone tells me to do that doesn't resonate with the heart. To live. To live. That's why meditation is legit awesome, isn't it? One mind, for sure. Oh, that makes me wonder, I'm thinking there's a song. It makes me wonder. So, it's November 12th. In a few days, I'm going to start the readings for December. Can you guys get over this year? The readings for December, my goodness, like what? This has been the ultimate year of like every point of my own ego, or like my own control pattern is like, you think you're in control? Bosh. Like, like, you think you can go back to that? And then shape shifting within my own patterns. And there's this funny old ghostly nature of my existence at this point, where it's like I don't even necessarily know who I am anymore, but I like it. Like, I'm digging on it. And like each cycle is just this releasing of these old, long held densities, suffering, challenging. And each wrap round is another permission for me to go, I'm just not going to take you with me, my love. I'm just going to drop. I did a ceremony down by the river yesterday, and I lit the fire and let it blow away into the river, all of my intentions, and at the same time, all of my open willingness of things to release, things that I don't need in my life, baggage that I've been carrying the majority of my life. And then ultimately I had this very dynamic shift. I spoke to some family yesterday, and it was like completely different. And then, yeah, this other opportunity came in, and it's like every time I get round over a perceived issue or conflict or density is the language I use in the book, by the way. Yeah, I reach a new height. I had a good cry yesterday as well. Okay, so this is here. This is success and recognition. We're getting over the heartache. For some of you, if you've been in pain, you're starting to get over that. You're getting over it ultimately by really claiming your power, basically claiming your freedom, as the authority in your life. There are some fast moving communications here, and I do feel with the devil energy right down the center in the reverse that you're starting to claim your freedom in truth. You're really starting to, and especially with this full moon and as far as manifestation, it's about really shining light and looking at the 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 habits, the patterns, the thought patterns, the energetic loops that are binding us to base tones that we're not wanting to take with us because we won't be able to fly to the next level. We'll be too heavy, right? So, and recognize, and this is something I'm accepting in my own reality here now, it's that I'm not going to be really hard on myself and be like, you're a fucking failure if you can't let go of this, or you can't do this, or da da da. But what I'm opening my heart to is that I'm willing. Like, I'm willing to let go of that pattern. I'm willing to start to open up to this, that, and the other because it feels good. I'm willing to just let go of this lifelong suffering pattern because I can. I'm willing, to not live in lack anymore and to live in fulfillment and abundance and love. Just be willing, and that's enough to free us. That's enough to give us some space to open up to new energies. And it just does, like almost instantaneously. John Beatty's in the house. Yeah, beautiful. This is a huge reading because there's loads of boom. This is like almost pure major arcana. There's a water messenger here as well, by the way. Oh, interesting. I had a bit of that this year as well. And I've had real signs of ancestral karma being completed. We all have unique, point of attraction with that for sure. But I just sometimes drop in my own story. Well, a lot. Like out to that TV. Okay, so this is a younger water sign. There could be a younger water sign coming in and giving you a frisky little message of love. The Wheel of Fortune is in the good position. The Wheel of Fortune is, I interpret when it's upside down, it's we're coming up because the snake over to the side is in the upward, and then like that devil figure is fallen away, and plus the Wheel of Fortune is a 10, so it's a mega cycle that is completing, then being born, right? The devil energy, like what we just talked about. Hey, Sheik, how are you, my friend? The devil energy is ultimately like this part of the review of the different belief systems that we're ready to leave behind. And then again, opening our heart and our mind to be willing to change. That's usually enough. Just be willing to make the changes as you set the motion forward in your life, right? Ugh, beautiful dreaming. Thank you, John. Mwah. So, and then based on that open willingness, there's an 8 of Wands, which is passionate, quick moving messages and communication. This could then send you on a bit of a forward movement journey as you really trust your own power and or step into your authority here. There's some recognition coming in. There's some positive success and recognition coming in. Yeah, there's a real new lease on life, that energy I'm getting. There's the Fool. Oh yeah, and then at the bottom of the deck, it's a Magician, you guys. So it really is a new beginning. Pardon me. Now I've got 2 4s going on here. Participation and Rebel. I'm getting a feeling of like that kind of, we are living in times of change and times of revolution ultimately. And yet it doesn't, even our 3D mind construct has been programmed to think of revolution in a certain way. It doesn't have to look like that. In essence, really, revolution is just transformation. It's just another word. So, and I would say it's not money. Money isn't what causes lack. Everything is in us. Energy, we create the external. We can't create something that oh my God, it's making us lack. We created the construct of money, so we have to transform it. There's nothing outside of us that we can point at and say that's the problem. That's the problem. If we're pointing a finger and blaming the external, then we're still denying an aspect of self that wants to heal and be abundant. Because we are all abundant no matter what. We are all free no matter what. But as long as we're still blaming the Federal Reserve, or blaming our economic system, or blaming any system, as it were, then we're still disempowered. We're still essentially energetically enslaved by it, rather than empowering ourselves to be the free beings that we are. And if you're camping and living on the land, then you're free. You don't have cause for concern. You don't have a need for it. So there's no external cause of lack. The only potential lack that we feel is within self. That's essentially what the book is teaching us. This is the whole point of everything that we feel, is that which is the creative outpouring of projection and manifestation. There is no external reality in essence. That is the illusion. And that is why our ability to withdraw, our ability to meditate, our ability to come into self is such a powerful tool. Because in that gate, we start to own the dominion of the energetic outpouring that we own. Okay. So this is a flowering now, a flowering of our consciousness. I'm taking that card. Why? Because I get to do whatever I want. That's why. It's mine. So there is, I'll address this because it's here. There's a 5 in the Osho deck coming up about clinging to the past. Be mindful of that, y'all. And there's this I want to see here. So recognize that as we continue to participate in life in a sense of harmony and balance, that what we are doing is, even, I feel this, we are rising out of the energy of rebellion, which can potentially limit us, right? If we're constantly fighting against something, we're actually keeping it in place. So here now, there's this whole new wave of energetic awareness, which is just breaking free. Become light, become like the Fool. Break free. We needn't carry the burden and chains of the rebel anymore. We can rise out of this like the eagle, become a fool, create our own mandala, and basically flower our consciousness. This is beautiful. This energy is absolutely beautiful, right? So we have this potential here now. And this is kind of like where I'm at. Just be chill. Let yourself be surrounded by the light of your grace and your knowing. Share the love, that green. She's a dominantly green figure here. Share the love that you are freely. Be not concerned for those external things that want to perpetuate. And I know I've been in it. I'm not here to attack or blame or point fingers to anybody. I get it. I feel it too. This whole year for me has been transforming fear around lack, fear around money, the injustice and oppression of the system, the, woe is me and woe is all of us for being oppressed and not having enough. And we just keep showing up and just keep showing up and just keep showing up. And all the resources we need to live the life that we're here to truly live always arrive in divine timing. It's true. And yet when it doesn't arrive, and we get triggered, there is more lessons to be learning. There's more lessons to be learning about the construct of that currency. So flower your own consciousness and be open to receive all that you are. This is about resources. Our ability to create our worlds is far beyond resources and far beyond the construct of a limited form of currency. And with the predictions that are beginning to dominate and come in around the 2020 astrology, be prepared. Be ready, you know. Hello, Vidushi B, my lover. You can book a reading via my website, my friend. I'm going to post this to you now. You can get 10-minute readings for £11.11. Also, for those of you who asked at the last time I did this, I have at the Live Share crew, there's now a subscription button for £3.33. Alrighty? So, y'all, I love ya. And I'm wishing you all a beautiful day. Happy, happy full moon. And it's all about love. This full moon is all about our bodies, love, and earthly manifestation, and really anchoring in the love and the knowingness that we are into the field of our reality. To be who you came here to be. Exactly, Chic. Exactly. All of you guys who show up and are here, and regardless of it, but I do appreciate when you subscribe, when you share vids, when you book readings and coaching sessions and buy courses and buy my book. It keeps the movement growing, and it really does support me a great deal. So thank you guys so much. Have a beautiful night, because I know lots of all y'all are over there in the United States of America. And for those of you who are in different parts of the world, good morning or good afternoon or good evening. I will see you guys again real soon. Again, feel free to go to ultralove.com and check out the services and the products that I create for all of humanity. All of humanity. I love you all. Have a beautiful day, and I'll speak to you soon. Peace out.